Should you go into brand or should you go into performance marketing? One of these two roles can get you a really fast career growth if you get into startups.
The journey of a brand in a startup is very different from a journey of a brand in a larger organization.
The other one could get you a more long-lasting career. You'll be relevant for longer. You'll be able to work with bigger brands.
The demand for this kind of talent and the need in the market is quite high. They are specialists, they are able to drive revenue, they are the need of the hour.
But the faster path may not give you long-term leverage, and the long-term path may not give you quick salaries upfront. So how do you decide whether you should double down on brand or performance?
Performance has a very strong leg when it comes to building up your initial business. I'm not saying brand is useless. I'm not saying don't do brand. Brand is going to give you that leverage far more. So your initial first 5 to 10 years has a significant compounding in leverage over the next 15.
Which one of these roles, brand or performance, is likely to hit a 30-40 lakh salary faster?
If you're asking for faster, then it's...
In this video, we break down exactly how brand marketing and performance marketing careers grow right from scratch to VP level, so that you know which one gives you speed, which one gives you stability, which one's actually the best one for you specifically. Let's get started. Which one of these roles, brand or performance, is likely to hit a 30-40 lakh salary faster?
It's a great question. If you're asking for faster, then it's performance and growth. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
And there is a very specific reason for that. They are specialists. They're able to drive revenue. They are the need of the hour. Like you have so many organizations today that need to hit 0 to 1, 1 to 10, 10 to 100. And if anyone came and told me in that journey that you need to spend on brand ahead of performance, then I would be very suspect of the individual. So performance has a very strong leg when it comes to building up your initial business. And
When it comes to building up?
initial business, right? I'm not saying brand is useless. I'm not saying don't do brand. Brand is just not advertising. It's a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
But the demand for this kind of talent and the need in the market is quite high. So it's harder. Brand is much harder to get into. Performance is much more easier and quicker to get to 40 for sure. If that's the number.
Okay.
But what happens in the long term?
Yeah, but in the long term, I feel brand is going to give you that leverage far more. So your initial first 5 to 10 years that you're going to spend on brand, and when I say brand, I'm not talking just about creative communication, right?
Sure.
It's your product, packaging, price, all of those things. And going really deep into those has a significant compounding in leverage over the next 15.
What happens if you want a long, say, 20-year career? What happens if you're going to sit in brand or performance in a startup versus a big company? What happens there?
Okay, so I think performance is very startup heavy, to be honest. Very biased there. If you do majority of the guys, career progression wise, I think we'll start with just analytics, basic setup. Then you'll start running campaigns. You'll get Meta, you'll get Google Ads running there. You will eventually move into a role where you're creating strategy on how to achieve the AOP, that is annual operating plans that you have for the organization. And then what happens next is you become a growth head, senior director growth head, a VP growth. And then when it comes growth, it's just not performance. It's a bigger chunk. Yeah. In other words, it's almost like a CBO. So you become a chief business officer rather than a CMO because you will be responsible for P&L.
There's a very big misconception in today's market that performance marketing is equal to media buys.
No.
Media buying is supremely automatable, and I didn't think you need OpenAI to do anything. It's been automated for the last 5-6 years, ever since Google launched universal app campaigns, and I think Meta launched Advantage Plus. It's been automated. So this is, I mean, kudos to you. This is great because this is actually what performance marketing is. It's not running a campaign. While it's that's one of the key ingredients. Without running campaigns, you're not doing anything. But that's not the only thing I do.
Yeah, because see, running campaign is very tactical. That's for everybody.
I think it's pressing the buttons.
Yeah, true. But the idea is to understand what's happening,
Yeah.
getting insights from different touch points, be it offline, telecalling, sales team, regional teams,
Right.
taking that into your own campaigns and understanding that this persona is working well.
Yes.
This kind of communication is
That's
working.
a performance marketer's responsibility. It can't be a creative guy's responsibility.
Absolutely.
But a brand guy is not a creative guy. You tell me what happens if I start as a brand marketer in a startup. What's the trajectory? Where can I land?
If you want to start as a brand marketer in a startup, most likely starting point is going to be social media management,
Okay.
going to be influencer marketing.
Mhm.
You will have some interaction with perhaps the product if you have like an app or something like that, or if you have a physical product that you're selling, let's say skincare. So you're going to have some interaction with the guys who are making the product because you're bringing consumer loops back. Ideally, that should evolve into somebody who's doing more consumer research, passing on those insights across the team. So not just marketing, but also to performance, growth, product. It passes on to everyone, and then you start better shaping your positioning of the brand, right? Because the first few years is very unlikely you're going to start working on positioning per se, and then you do the classic building the brand out. What kind of attributes does the brand want to own, or does the category operate? So, but at least in what we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years, most of the starting brand roles are either in very creative execution led aspects of it. I would also argue to a lot of other big companies also do not give you the same depth of pure product market brand training as a large company would.
Sure.
But that's usually the first 5 years is going to be between these different execution spaces. So social media, influencer, hopefully some market research, some product development, stuff like that.
What do you think about career transition in brand? Your take, whether you want to take for startup or established MNC, how they move career-wise, and what is the salary bracket that they do with each jump?
First of all, if you're starting a brand career and you're doing it for the first time, you're getting out of college or you've just done something else and you joined a brand, think really carefully about doing or learning brand in a startup. Because the journey of a brand in a startup is very different from a journey of a brand in a larger organization. I would say that is well defined and will really hold you in good stead if you learn all of those. And it is my recommendation, do not join a brand role that is only social media, influencer marketing, etc. if you're joining a startup. Now, the obvious question is, what if you have somebody who's done brand in a big company like ITC or Procter & Gamble, and if they are heading or they're like a mid-level manager in a startup? I would still argue that a lot of people are making that transition today, right? And they are still figuring out, okay, what am I supposed to do in the startup here? Because when I was in a brand role in a big company, I'm looking at data, I'm looking at penetration, I have consumer insights, I have a project launch. None of that happens, at least in a startup, right? You're going to suddenly sit there and say, hey, organic is not growing. What are you doing, right? Let's get an influencer role happening. Let's say social media. Suddenly you're going to feel out of place. And then who you're going to teach and lead is also going to be suffering the same consequence.
Don't you think that someone right out of college is really equipped with the insights that they have today, especially social influencer insights,
Yeah.
that they automatically, very intrinsically, most people have it?
Yes.
If not them, then who?
They should. They definitely should, but they should
Okay.
not have the aspiration saying that I'm going to build I'm going to become a brand manager, or I'm going to build 500 crore brand in 5 years or 10 years. Because what they're going to learn as soon as they enter into a startup and with all the enthusiasm and ideas, I'm going to do social media marketing and I'm going to do influencer marketing, then what? You will spend 10 crores, then you'll spend 50 crores, then you'll spend 100 crores, then what? What is your natural progression? So when you get into a traditional company, your starting point is going to be, let's say, anyone under a brand manager. So brand executive, assistant brand manager, etc. How do these companies work? They work on projects over 5 years, 4 years, 2 years. Saying, okay, in 2 years, I'm going to relaunch the existing brand with this set of positioning or with this set of goals to be achieved. I'm going to drive this revenue. I'm going to drive this. And it is going to be based on two things. Category insight. Okay, where is this category shifting towards the next 5 years? And what are the trends that are picking up that are going to be long term? Taking these two things and also now looking at what D2C brands are doing, because D2C brands are much faster. Combining these three things, okay, in the next 1.5 to 2 years, this is the opportunity we need to build for this. Now, the obvious question is why 2 years when D2C companies can do it in 15, 20 days? That's because the risk that a brand runs creating these products is significantly higher than a startup. Exactly, right? So you are, under a brand manager, your job is going to be to mine those insights, talk to consumers, right? Make sure the project is moving on time, right? That's the grunt work.
Project management.
You're doing project management, but with the marketing lens of it. Now your salary progression here In the first 5 years, you're probably going to, if you start as an assistant manager or executive, your salary can be anywhere between 0 to 20, 10, 12 lakhs in a big company. 5 years to 10 years, you would probably progress to 25 lakhs, right? Increments, promotions, etc. It's after 10 years where the real money starts flowing in. Now, whether you choose to jump or stay there, 25 to 50 is probably going to be a combination of those things. I jump somewhere else. I go to a smaller brand but bigger portfolio, or I stay in the same company and get promoted to a senior category or a GM or something like that. It's the real money beyond 50 lakhs comes in when you start taking head of marketing positions, right? And that's going to be very difficult for you to do in a big org because everyone is good, right? So you're going to take all those learnings of 10, 12 years and jump to a smaller company and become head of marketing. That's actually what is happening right now. But the difference is it's hard to get head of marketing and senior marketing roles in other legacy marketing companies.
Does this role even exist in a big company performance? Okay, is it valued?
You will develop bigger companies.
I love the questioning.
You will develop.
Do they get respected?
ये अंदर से आ रहा है कुछ बात.
You will develop.
Dignified?
Yeah, in a big company, in a traditional HUL type.
Because what I've seen, and I've seen just very upfront that the big companies don't understand performance. They don't understand whatever is digital marketing.
They don't understand the DNA of it. Not that they don't understand it, but I think that org needs a DNA which they don't possibly have.
What's actually happening? There is, the hierarchy is being built over decades, the way you explained. Now, somebody who's built their fundamentals with playing in thousands of crores is now heading the org, heading the marketing org or the brand org. And the performance marketer, sort of goes in wherever he finally manages to get into a Unilever, ITC, Procter & Gamble, wherever. Then he ends up reporting to this guy. This guy has a very different worldview dashboards.
Yeah.
As a dashboard. He has very different dashboards and way of interpreting things. That guy has very different dashboards. And if these guys are, sort of reporting to each other or commanding each other, they're not talking the same language. One is speaking Latin, the other one speaking Greek. So that never plays well. I don't see any big brand that's done performance well in India. And I've in fact seen these big brands having thousands of crores ending up acquiring DTC brands because they've not been able to build digital brands. They've only sort of cracked Amazon and switchovers, did not build brands digitally. And they're having to acquire DTC because DTC grows fast.
Yeah.
And hence my question comes that if you've not understood performance to a level, then you're having to shell thousands of crores to acquire these DTC brands. Should performance marketers even go there?
But I think you've answered it yourself.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like this is rhetorical.
because what you did was you said that bigger conglomerates are not aware. Hence, the skill set is not appreciated.
Exactly.
And later on, when they realize that it's too late, it's better to buy somebody who's there. And that's the problem where you are either archaic,
Yeah.
not able to build quick and break,
Yeah.
fail quicker.
Yeah.
You end up acquiring जिसने already ये कर रखा है. That's where the bigger conglomerates who are now successful at trying to become in the new age, where the consumer is, they are making sure that they have a very strong digital / performance / growth team because
Run by startup growth leader types.
yes, or they build somebody in-house and the leader is aware that this needs to be done or else we become the black belt.
Tell me, if you had to restart your career today, would you
2025 entering workforce fresh out of college.
start? Two questions are there.
Would you
One,
start?
would you start in brand or performance? Two, would you start in a traditional, a corporate versus a startup?
Personally, I would probably go to a big company first, spend 5-6 years, and then
To the startups.
go to startups. Because once you work in a startup, at least for me, once you work in a startup, there's no going back.
Fair.
You can, I have spent 11, 12 years working with big companies in process and systems, and I have a very good appreciation of them. So I know I can switch to that. But working in a startup is a very different mentality, right? If you work in a startup the second time in your life, like the second phase, you are able to balance what is a really thorough process-oriented one versus one which is like make fast, break fast, learn fast, right? That's how I would look at it.
So
Fair.
I think startup, digital, performance, and brand is going to be my mix. Call me a marketing manager or a junior marketing manager, but I think that's the jobs to be done.
I would still do bigger conglomerates first. I've done that and I realized the pros of it because the system and processes and an eye for things is that's what they teach you because you'll get belted by your CMO and why you didn't do that. I did. I got it a lot in my earlier years. Made sure that before I do that, and that's how you start functioning.
Yeah.
So even in the startup, once you shift, once you get those structures in place and how to think about things, you all you need to do is do that quicker, faster. But you get a frame, which nobody will tell you when you are in the startup up there, starting your career there.
Right. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's a wrap.
Wrap, guys.